This is Unrendered on IKTV. You can follow us on Twitter at iConcepts. I'm Tony Regisford, and I'm chatting with Mr. Osborne Bowens and Mr. Nigel Scott, both senior members of the St. Vincent Community College. Gentlemen, accreditation. So you're saying, when we went out in the last segment, that it's a process. You have to start your program, and you've got to take it through its paces before it can receive accreditation. Now, tell me, what then of the students who are, if you could call them guinea pigs, I don't know, who are going through that process before a course, a program, receives the necessary accreditation? The students or the cohorts that you have in that period, you still grant them an associate degree. Yes. But what can they do with that?
Well, Tony, let me start by saying as well, this segment by saying that there's a difference between accreditation and recognition. So while none of our associate degree programs that we offer at the college are accredited, majority of them are recognized, and recognized not just for the workplace, not just within St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but recognized by institutions within the region and outside of the region for matriculation, that is acceptance into university, as well as advanced placement. And we do offer a number of different associate degrees, and so I want to take the opportunity to try and go through some of them.
Let's go through some of them, yes.
We offer an associate degree in teacher education. The associate degree in teacher education can be done at different aspects of it, different arms. Secondary education, primary education, early childhood education, technical and vocational education. That associate degree used to be called a certificate, your teacher's college certificate. Right. It is now an associate degree in teacher education. This associate degree was developed by the University of the West Indies through its the Joint Board of Teacher Education in the Eastern Caribbean. It serves Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. The students who complete that associate degree get essentially a UWI associate degree. And there is an arrangement in place where 2 years for that associate degree, and you spend 2 years at the University of the West Indies for your Bachelor's of Education.
So that buys you a year, in other words?
Yes.
Because typically if you went directly to the University of the West Indies on that particular program, you'd have to spend 3 years.
3 years.
Right?
Yes.
Once you meet the entry requirements, you have to spend 3 years. But doing the associate degree here in St. Vincent gives you advanced placement.
Advanced placement.
So I'm conscious of time, right? And I know we have a lot to go through. Right. So we can rest that aside. Teacher education program that you offer, while not accredited, is recognized.
It is recognized for matriculation and advanced placement.
Right. And that is, and I'll use UE as the university as a standard, because that is what was mentioned by the opposition leader in his in his questions that he asked and allegations that he made about University of West Indies not recognizing these programs. So, anything to add on that, Osborne?
If I may just make the point that, a point that you were making, that essentially universities across the Caribbean, across the world, normally their degrees are either 3-year or 4-year degrees. Now, the thing is that universities these days, they have to pitch to either middle class or lower class audience or set of people. Now, these sort of people cannot really spend 4 years or 3 years at a university to get a degree.
Yes, because it's expensive.
That's where community colleges across the world come in.
It's basically for convenience and saving costs.
Any university who is not recognizing, unless you're one of those prestigious universities, the Yale or the Harvard, you must be recognizing the community colleges and what they're doing, because they're really shaving off, per se, part of the years that they ought to be spending at the university and really giving them the advanced placement that they need in order to get into the university.
So, FC, and I'm going through your list here. you started to mention teacher education. You have hospitality studies. Was that the one you're going to get onto next?
Yes, I was going to talk about hospitality. I don't know if Mr. Bowens wants to take that one actually, because this falls under his division.
Yes, well, the hospitality program, the culinary arts program, the tourism studies program, all those are done at the Division of Technical and Vocational Education. As a matter of fact, these programs were actually developed by the Caribbean Tourism Association in conjunction with the University of the West Indies. These 3 programs in particular, the assessment of the course outlines, they do not have anything to do with the college per se here in St. Vincent. These are developed by the CTO working along with the University of the West Indies. And every 2 years, these come under review. So really, these students, after having completed either the tourism studies or the hospitality studies or the culinary arts program, can get up to 2 years off of their studies at the University of the West Indies. And even some of them, they might not get 2 years, but at Mono College, they also get advanced placement at Mono College, having completed these programs in the hospitality.
So we're saying, and I don't want to seem to be rushing you through, but I don't want the program to come to an end and we haven't touched everything, right? So we're saying that in the programs that you offer under that banner of hospitality studies, the associate degrees, you have the requisite recognition.
Right.
Students who do the programs and are successful at them can get advanced placement at UE, and for similar courses at UE and Monroe College.
Yes,
as you said.
And we can talk about this in abstract, Tony, but there are people, you can talk to people on the ground, and I wish that there are persons who can give their success stories. And there are many students who can tell you that they have gone on, having completed, because we started this in 2008, and many of them have gone on to either the University of the West Indies. As a matter of fact, we have a lecturer on staff right now that we employed this year that did our associate degree program in hospitality studies and went on to Monroe College, did 2 years at Monroe College, as now back at the college as a lecturer.
Now my question is, before we go on, Mr. Scott, with the programs, we're talking about, the necessary, to get advanced placement because it's recognized. The University of the West Indies, as you said, my standard, recognizes it. But clearly, a student, although you pass, you get an associate degree, the grades must count for something. So you must compete, because if I go on a program that's highly competitive, and to matriculate for that, you've got other students who have far higher grades than I do. I may be refused.
Exactly, Tony. And that is something that I want to say in general about what the University of the West Indies has said. Because since 2006, and I'm sure persons who are viewing are probably going to come across Professor Cobley's letter. Professor Cobley is the Pro-Vice Chancellor at the University of the West Indies, and he is the chair of the Board of Undergraduate Studies. Professor Cobley has reminded Vincentians through a letter he has written to the Permanent Secretary that since 2006, the University of the West Indies made the decision to add to their list of programs that they will allow for matriculation for entry into the university, the associate degrees of the community colleges in the region. Now, I know that there is an initial list, there's an appendix that goes with that initial list that was developed in 2006. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College does not appear on that list because in 2006, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College was not offering these associate degree programs that we are talking about.
Right.
Yes, we were offering teacher ed, but that's under a separate agreement. That's a 2+2 agreement, that's clear.
Yes.
The other associate degrees that we are now offering, we were not offering at the time. And that is why the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College does not appear on that list.
I want to get this very clear before you move on, because I was going to bring it up. I want to get it very, very clear. The list in question, there's a list that was posted on Facebook by somebody that puts it up as evidence that, in fact, you're not recognized.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it's an old list. It's from 2006. It's a list from 2006. The Professor Cobley's letter clearly points out.
So that supersedes that.
That supersedes that. That following that, subsequent to that, the University of the West Indies made a decision that the community colleges of the region, because they recognized that there were additional colleges that were offering associate degree programs, their requirement is that you structure your associate degree in a particular way. There's a handbook that's available that they developed through their tertiary levels institution unit. And once the colleges develop their associate degrees along that line, which we have done at the community college, a 2.5 GPA, minimum GPA, is required, and you can matriculate with that associate degree into the University of the West Indies for a related program.
Wouldn't it help you if the university updated that list, though? Because, I mean, I can see where if somebody was just, going on the university site and looked at this list and didn't see the community college, then it can lead to confusion.
It probably would help, but there is additional information. I don't think they're bothered to revise the list, because what they've done in the subsequent regulations is said all Caribbean community colleges essentially. So rather than naming them, because I think they realize the shortcomings of putting a list.
Right. Well, they should just take it down.
Maybe they should take it down. But then you see persons will still find it somewhere. When it's out there in cyberspace, you can find lots of these things, and they may not be dated, and you can put your own dates to it.
So, okay.
If I may just add, that Mr. Scott is speaking about the University of the West Indies and how it's trying to ensure that it enhances what goes on at the community colleges in the Caribbean. I just want persons to take some time and look at what is called the Association of Caribbean Tertiary Institutions, or ACTI. And ACTI was an institution set up by the University of the West Indies in 2008 to ensure that the community colleges in the region, that the students do not have the problems that they were having previous to that of entering into the University of the West Indies. So Mr. Scott made a reference to the structure of the associate degree, that actually determined that your associate degree should be structured along the line of general ed courses, general education courses, you have specialized courses, and you have electives. As long as you have that particular structure, then there is some recognition for the courses that you have, or the program that you have.
Fair enough. Business studies, psychology, information technology, paralegal studies. This is another heading that you have, that you offer associate degrees.
This was a new group of associate degrees that we first began offering in 2010. Took us about a year to get them all together. They are not accredited, like the other ones I've said, but what we have done in lieu of accreditation, because we're still headed towards accreditation, is we have sought recognition through assessment by the University of the West Indies for these programs. In 2012, a cross-campus team from each of the campuses of the University of the West Indies came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, visited the SVGCC on our invitation, and did an assessment of the business studies and psychology associate degrees. On the basis of that assessment, they determined, and their report, while it's not necessarily in the public domain, there's a report they sent. This is the psychology one, is 11 pages. The business studies one is 24 pages. And they are very clear. Now, the psychology one is signed by the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities at that time, Pedro Welch at KFIL, Evan Dugan from Mona, and Hamid Ghani from St. Augustine. And what they clearly said is that students who do the psychology associate degree at the community college, and they knew it was not accredited, that's why they came to do the assessment, can get up to 5 courses in the first year.
These are like credits.
Credit transfers for 5 courses. So that's 15 credits.
Right.
Because each of these are 3 credit courses. In the case of the business studies, they saw up to 8 of the courses that students could get credit transfers for. Now there are requirements. And it says graduates who earn a minimum GPA of 2.7 in the SVGCC Associate Degree in Business Studies or in Psychology, and a grade of B- in the specified courses can be granted exemptions with credit, that is advanced placement, from the suggested equivalent UE bachelor's degree courses.
My question to you is, when students are enrolling in these courses at the college, is this made clear to them in terms of, listen, if you're hoping to get to university, go to the University of the West Indies in particular to pursue the degree, the full degree, these are the grades you need to get the credits. So
Yes.
is it made clear?
We seek to let the students know this through the lecturers and through our conversations with them as well. And I think most of them get the message, you know, but yes, we do try to make it fairly clear.
Particularly the orientation period,
Yes.
Tony, that we have a week of orientation in which we ensure that all information that are relative to how the students are going to spend their 2 years and what their 2 years would count for having completed an associate degree at the college, what they can do after that, all that is in the students' domain, having after the period of orientation.
So I'm going to take this section out by coming again at you and saying, look, the leader of the opposition is saying that you virtually misled the students. You know, they come there, you haven't been really truthful to them. They come there and they go to the end of this thing only to find out that you haven't been telling them the truth. They're not able to matriculate and get the credits that.
Tony, since when is an education worthless? Or it's not worth anything? And honestly, I find it to be reckless and to be dishonest, to be truthful and to be blunt. Because either ways, just to make this clear, that the technical division of the college is an institution that is 45 years old. And we have been delivering technical vocational education to St. Vincent and Grenadines since then. And our graduates since 1970 have been functioning efficiently and effectively in industry. And industry have been asking constantly for our graduates. So that must be worth something. It must be worth something.
Right.
So to come and say that there's nothing you can do with the associate degree from.
But
what
you
we
were
have
speaking
simply
in terms of
done
the context of university placements, though.
is to convert these these certificates into associate degrees.
Right.
And because this is what universities across the world and across the Caribbean are recognizing associate degrees as opposed to certificate programs.
So the associate degree provides you with a better stepping stone onto a full degree program.
Are we really talking about university matriculation? Because when you go to the point of saying they are worthless without qualifying that, I wonder sometimes, you know, persons are making statements sometimes without qualifying, and you wonder who's really deceiving who. I haven't had a chance to talk about the IT, the paralegal, and the fine arts. Okay.
We're going to get on to that. We're at the end of our second segment. In fact, we've overrun the second segment.
Okay.
But however long it takes, we'll clear up at least all the programs that you offer, the associate degree programs that you offer. This is Unrendered on IKTV. My guests are Mr. Osborne Bowens and Mr. Nigel Scott. More when we come back from the break.